So they say. They say they want men who speak the truth, but when they get them, what do? Run like the wind in high-heeled shoes. See, girls like this like to rank the fool. They'd rather stick to men who choose to tell them lies to spread their thighs. So why, oh why, do they always try to blame all men for their problems? All men are this, all men are that. And once they found out that they've been had, stupid bitch fell for his shit, and now dumb cow, you've got his kid. But he was so slick and bought me drinks. So then you licked and rode his dick. You made your bed, so lie in there. Don't run your mouth, cause you got clowned. You gave yourself the runaround. But you don't know. Here we go, I don't know what, how you got stuffed and placed in cuffs. Try listening, love, cause I've heard enough. You're the type that man bitch like, girl with weak minds but strong behinds. The type will fall for any old line. Watch out below! Cause there they go. The girls now known as stupid hoes. The ones who think their pussy hole will make man sink whenever it's shown or gives a wink, even when it's closed. From what I hear, them hoes, them stink of nasty things that may just bring your nose to tears. Holes like these harbor disease, not sweet pussy. So listen up, cheat. Wrap up, son, please. Don't give these freaks little kiddies. Make them wet again and again, then walk away when you've played safe. Make your game fill up their brain, cause it's fair to say it won't have much space. Hit the spot when panties drop, then hit the road before they throw your game, of course. I'm pregnant, and the child is yours. It won't take long to see her change. Trust no more thongs, no more sex games, no matter what they try to say. These girls change lanes like spies change names. Soon what they claim and what they state when it comes to love doesn't quite add up. They're quick to use their mouths to shout about men's moves that leave them screwed. I really loved him, he was so slick, I never thought he'd leave so quick. Well, it's clear you didn't think. So what about now? He's a liar and a cheat who just used me, stupid cow. See what I mean? They'll use their heads to mess with men, in fact with boys, like kids do toys. But when the toy breaks and runs away, they never accept mistakes they made. It was all his fault, he never taught. So what about you? What did you do? Spread your legs before a word was said? Or did you have sex? Cause the things he said that filled your head with false promises. Well, here's some truth. The smoothest dudes are quick to use deceit-filled moves to ease your mood, so that they can, yes, screw you, just like clever rapists do. Girls' beauty isn't everything. Weak men will promise anything because they're weak and have to cheat to get to split your juicy lips. So take this in and think about this, because here's my view. If they'll do it for you, they'll do it for the next girl too. You know the score, there are plenty of whores, but enough about them and their problems. The big problem, I think, is with girls who bitch about us men when men they pick cause them problem. They're quick to suggest that they don't play games and use their brains when it comes to picking males, and don't want men with devious traits. But when strong men come at them straight and move to them, he's not my type, is the usual line, because he's all wrong and came on too strong. And then, of course, they make the claim there's no good men out there anyway. Well, so they say.
Poetry or rap. You know, I like a good poet and love a good rap, but how many people can say they do that? Many write stuff that huffs with no puff. Others write stuff that hits like a cuff. So, which do you prefer, poetry or rap? Let's take a sec and look into that. Aren't they the same? As the saying goes, what's in a name? What makes them different? Does anyone know? Well, one thing's for sure, their rates of pay. Rappers get millions for things that they say. Which poet gets that at the end of the day? This doesn't seem very fair to me. Rappers use a tune to flow poetry, but many don't help our societies. Of course some do, and that is cool. But many are paid for acting the fool. That's not cool. They need to be schooled in how to make moves before they drown in their new swimming pool. But poets don't help themselves sometimes. Can't a poet be good if they utilize rhymes to say things that unsettle weak minds? By talking about humanity's crimes. That's the way I'm now inclined, even though this route has got landmarks. I'll say no more, because I ignore those who clearly keep the score. So, poetry or rap, we're back to that. They are the same, and that's a fact. I'm making a case for raising the face of poets who speak about today to ensure that they can get the pay that makes them hit tomorrow's front page. Just like rappers when they rage or end up in a prison caged. Would poets ever be this way? It's clear they are, because rap's the same, which means that a rapper is merely a poet with a different name. Do I have to say those words again? Well, here they come. What's in a name? Come on, people, use your brains. Poets have to share some blame for using art to gain them fame instead of raising poetry's aim, the usage of words to elevate brains or minds, you see. What's in a name? Sorry, I've gone back again. Let's move on to the question, chaps. Poetry or rap, we should look back. Shelley or Keats or rhymes to a beat, both are forms of poetry, as are these. Dylan, Simone, Marley to Ali, and what the hell, yes, even me, have used this art called poetry. From blues to calypso to jazz-laden beats, all have been touched by some great poetry. See, poetry could even claim to be as obscure as this, a sports victory. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Words of Ali's were true poetry. Just like his fights when he was at his peak, he used poetry when he chose not to speak. Because Ali in motion was something to see. So, what was the question? Yes, poetry or rap? Or for you hip-hoppers, rappers or MCs? Come on, people, please. I'm with KRS. I prefer MCs, those who in truth master ceremonies. That's something I hope to one day achieve, a day when the masses know my poetry. Call it what you like, they're one and the same. Don't fall in the trap of issuing names or giving out caps, because there isn't a difference between poetry or rap. People like you. Man, what is it with people like you who think they're slick but act the fool? Well, here's my view. Your moves are crude as well as lewd. In fact, I think it's fair to say you're the weakest link, man. In a paper chain, making claims and calling names as if your words are well observed, when clearly you are living proof that fools refuse to face the truth. Instead, they choose to hurl abuse when those not dumb start to question. Make that prove they're fake. They make false claims without a case, which is a mistake they should not make. So, why is it that they resist things that they should choose to enlist? Like knowing when they should accept that their nonsense has no defense. When a man presents good common sense, they should reject bigging up their chests under false pretense and making threats to make things perfect. But many, I guess, will still deny to face the lies inside their minds. Lying to yourself proves you need help. People like you, like you. People like you, like you, people like you have got issues. I've got some too, believe that's true, but not the type that inside fights inside my mind or otherwise. I deal with mine every time I write about termites of the humankind. Oh, and face to face, I'm just the same. I choose to engage rather than show rage. Engage with brains that can relate and conversate on higher planes. Do you get what I'm saying? If your answer is no, what you are displaying is ignorance, bro. People like you accept the road to the dark shadow, a road that goes to down below, where darkness grows from devilish roots. People like you, people like you. Can anyone school people like you? Well, my answer is no, and that's no joke. But at the end of the day, I guess many would say that they have to live too, and that's just the way, man, of people like you. People like you, those with no manners and no common sense, the type Dr. Banners hulk up to distress and bring war like Thor with hammers for heads, yes, heads like yours. A shark with no jaws, As usual, your flaws will bring your downfalls. Here's people like you who end up on all fours, spread out like a whore because of abuse that they choose to use. Now, I'm not about that, but like Terminators believe, I'll be back if you play the hater when I'm chatting facts. See, it's people like you, man, I'm talking about. Those who exude what comes out down south. Usually when they open their mouths, it's people like you, man. People like you, people like you. What should man do, huh?